super keen to get on the float today. She's ready to roll. You keen? You want to go back? She's just on a mission today, aren't ya? You're not.
Nope.
Okay, wow. This test was so weird. Unfortunately, Kyle didn't feel me going around the arena, which is a real shame, like when I rode past the judges' cars and stuff, because, oh my god, I just don't know where all her energy came from. Nice off-center halt. She wasn't very energetic in the warm-up, and she was just kind of, like, average, so I did a decent warm-up, but I was like, I don't want to do too much, because I think I'll get her tired, like our test was yesterday. And as soon as we got to the arena, I started trotting around the outside, and I just put a little bit of leg on, and she just cantered, and I was like, okay, where's this come from? And when we got to the judge at the other end, she nearly ran into the car, and then we came down this long side on the outside arena, and she was just half passing because she was just going sideways. She just had so much energy. So I was like, wow, this is going to be fun. So I thought this test felt horrible because the whole way round I was having to hold her back, but it didn't look as bad as it felt, which is good. I was very, very careful with the amount of leg I did put on her, so I kept my spurs off her the whole test. As you can tell, when I'm using my leg, it's just my leg, because as soon as I put my spur, or even just put a little too much leg on her, she just, like, I could just feel that she was just going to go. It's just like she got really excited to just be in the arena, and as you can tell, it's very foggy this morning. But, yeah, it was just weird. So I was trying to control her trot to a good pace, which probably was a bit slower than it needed to be. Like, I should have let her go a bit more forward, but it was hard to gauge because I didn't want her to go too forward in the trot and then slip into canter. So in the canter as well, I was very careful with my leg placement. As you can tell, they're not really moving at all, and I'm not using much leg because I just didn't need it. Some areas I do use a little bit of leg, but very little, just because I didn't want her to just go. And then she kind of got a bit lazy in that corner, so I'm using a little bit of leg. And here we have our long rein trot, which she just didn't really stretch downwards for. She had a little bit of stretch, but not much. And as you can see, the arenas are still pretty wet today, which was a shame. But yeah, so I was quite happy with how she was moving, though, in this test. She moved out quite nicely. She's got a nice medium walk because of all the built-up energy. And I'm surprised, watching this test back, you can't tell how much energy she had. Like, she kept it in really well, and I thought it was, I thought me trying to hold her back was quite obvious, but it wasn't, which was nice. So I think that's why this test still went quite well, really well in the placings, because somehow I was able to keep it quite subtle. But yeah, so she has an alright long rein walk. She didn't really stretch out as much as she normally does, because she doesn't stretch out much when she's got a lot of energy. It's when she's a bit tired that she'll really stretch out. But she just didn't really. Quite a nice medium walk for her. She normally doesn't have a very nice medium walk, so that's nice. Nice little transition to trot. It was quite a nice test, actually, watching it back. It wasn't my favourite, but it was quite nice. We have a bit of head wobbles, and as you can kind of see in that, that was how her head was going when I was trying to hold her back. You can see me holding her back there in that first quarter of the circle too. And she's trying to fight a bit by putting her head up, but I'm surprised it actually kind of worked in our advantage a bit, because her trot's quite nice and bouncy, which is good. I just was very careful with all of my aids in this test because I felt like I needed to be, because like the slightly wrong aid, I feel like she just would have exploded, especially how she went around the outside of the arena. But yeah, I'm not as mad about this test as I was when I was riding it. I came out very unhappy, but you know what? It's not too bad. It was hard to not let her lengthen across the diagonal because this is a prelim test, so prelims don't have any lengthens, and she was really wanting to lengthen. It's a shame it has no lengthens because I feel like she would have pulled out a really, really nice lengthen. But yeah, it's quite a nice little trot. Bit of a dodgy canter transition, but it's not too bad. Still quite a nice, controlled, slow canter considering the amount of energy she had. And I keep saying it, but I'm just surprised that she looks quite contained because she did not feel contained at all. She looks quite nice. So yeah, this is probably my second favourite test of the weekend then. First being the one from yesterday. And yeah, not bad. It's alright. Quite a nice little canter jep. So here we come up the centre line for our last halt and salute. I don't remember what this halt was like. Hopefully it was better than the first. Yeah. Fix it. Fix it. Yeah. It's alright. It could have been worse. So little Miss Jep is having a snack. Finished our first test. Felt like I was fighting her the whole way because she was not that energetic in the warm-up, and then we got to the arena and it came from nowhere. So we didn't get it on camera, but we had a couple moments outside of the arena. Nearly took out the judge's car at the very end and were doing some little sideways dances, but yeah, didn't have too much, like there was no silliness in the arena. The whole test didn't feel good to me. I felt like I was just arguing and like holding her back the whole way because it just, all of a sudden we got to the arena and she had this whole heap of energy. It was strange because she was like, she wasn't necessarily that lazy in the warm-up, but she didn't have that much energy. So I was like, I don't want to do too much because I don't want to make her tired, because the test yesterday, our last test, was very, very lazy because she was so tired. So I was like, I don't want, after having a big day yesterday, I don't want her to be tired. But I don't know, this energy came from nowhere. So not really sure how to go about my last test. I think I'm going to give her, I don't know, I just don't know. I mean, I'll see how this one scores, because to me it felt horrible. I watched it over and it's not as bad as I thought. It's not as obvious that I'm holding her back and fighting with her as I thought it would be. There are a couple moments though that you can't, it's a bit argumentative and you can obviously see it, but I don't know. I'll wait for my scores to come up, and yeah, we're gonna go walk around for a bit because I have ages till my next test. So Jep's just gonna eat, have some water, have a break, and yeah. So you guys can go from watching the under 25s Grand Prix Freestyle to my little stingy prelim. What can I say? Yep, so this test was average. I don't know. It wasn't terrible, wasn't good, but it's alright. It was the last test of the competition, which was nice. We're in a fairly good arena. Yeah, I'm about to yawn. I don't know if I should leave this in. Oh, jeez. Okay, sorry about that. I'll probably leave it in. Yeah, so she was a bit lazy, but nowhere near as bad as she was in the test yesterday. At least she didn't have a heap of energy, and I wasn't fighting her. But yeah, so I don't have a heap to say about this test, really. Oh, what was that? Nice little trot. So the under 25s Grand Prix Freestyle was actually after this test, but I felt like it's fitted a bit nicer in between my two tests, so that's why I put it there. Because you might notice in the clock it says like 3 o'clock. I think it was like 3:19 or something. Yeah, so it was actually after this test when we were waiting for presentation. But yeah, I just put it there. It was amazing to watch, honestly. And that first little chestnut pony was the one that won. It was so cute. And the second horse as well I was in love with. But yeah. Anyway, let's talk about our actual test, because we are not competing in the under 25s Grand Prix Freestyle. We are competing in the prelim. I do want to say something, because I don't really have much to say about this test anyway. I do really want to do a freestyle next year. Whether I'm qualify for this comp next year or if it's even in my state, it might not even be in my state next year, unfortunately. But I really want to qualify. I'm never doing prelim again, by the way. So this is the last time you guys will ever see, well, you'll ever see Jep do a prelim. I'll do another prelim on Kai eventually when he's out competing, but Jep will never do another prelim. It's just, prelims are hard for Jep. They're not as easy on her as they used to be because she just doesn't enjoy them. So, she always goes so much better in the novices and elementaries. So next year, our aim is to qualify for the novice and elementary, and I would love to do an elementary freestyle as well. But yeah, if this comp is not in our state next year, I will be aiming for open states. So this is the youth championships, so it's for under 25s. Well, it's under 21s for every other level, but Grand Prix is under nope, Jep, not a walk to Canna, see what I mean? Just like walk to Canna, elementary, okay. Anyway, yeah, so if this isn't in our state, I will be aiming for open states, which is a bit later in the year than this. And I'm not doing open states this year. And open states is obviously all ages, so you're against adults and really good professional riders. But anyway, I'm not doing states this year. We did qualify, and the scores are a bit higher to qualify for because it's opens than it is for young riders, but it's in Tamworth, so it's a bit too far for us to travel. Hopefully next year states will be in Sydney. So yeah, for this year we chose youth nationals because it was in Sydney, and I'd rather go to a national comp than a state comp anyway. Where next year, as I don't think this is going to be in our state, we will be doing the open state championships, and hopefully in novice and elementary if we qualify. As I said, it's harder to qualify because the scores are higher for that. But we'll see how we go. Yeah. So we're nearing the end of this test, thank God, because prelims bore me and bored Jeff. We got some interesting comments from judges on this test. But yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Just interesting. I don't know. I think we're just done with the prelim level, honestly. Both of us are. Which is exciting to say that you'll never see Jep do a prelim test again. I'm so happy to finally say that, because she's over it and so am I. And then I'll probably do one in another 6 months' time. That is if Kai's ready to compete by then, but we'll see. Anyway, enough jibber jabber. Here we come up the centre line for our final halt of our last ever prelim test. Was this halt good? Yeah. Yeah. Stepped out. That's alright. Good job, Jep. What did Jeppy and I get in the 1B, Kyle?
2 ribbons.
No, not in the same test though. We got a 6th in the 1B.
And a 7th in the 1C.
Correct.
Yay.
Jeppy got 3 rosettes.
Go team.
You couldn't kill us.
Yeah, I could. This one was better. This one was a 8th out of 100.
Not quite, but 8th out of a bigger field than the other 2 tests for sure. So the 8th was probably the one we cared about most, and it was the best test. Home time, Pep.